Hi everyone, it's Curt Frye, and in this movie I'd like to talk about dates and investment length. First thing I want to do is to calculate increments between dates, and there are a number of ways that you can do that. The first is to calculate the number of days. So in cell D6, I'll type equal, and then the function days. And it's important to have the S because the day function is separate and returns the day of the month. You want days, which is the number of days between two dates. And yes, I have made that mistake before. So we have the end date, and that will be the later of our two dates in B6, then a comma, and the start date is in A6. Then right parentheses and enter, and we get 10,397 days. So that's the days function. If you want a little bit more flexibility, you can use the DATEDIF function. And you see that spelled out here in parentheses in cell E5. And if you're thinking that you've never heard of DATEDIF or haven't seen it in any of the help files, well, that's because it's not documented very well. And I don't know the story of why that's the case. But DATEDIF is one of those things that you sort of have to know about to be able to use it. So now welcome. You are part of the DATEDIF club. You can calculate increments or differences between dates using DATEDIF in days, months, and years. I'll start by showing you how to do days, and hopefully we'll get the same response or same answer that we did in D6. So I'll click in cell E6, then type equal, and DATEDIF, and then left parentheses. And here we go with the start date first. So that is in A6. I'll go ahead and click there, then a comma. And then the end date, that's in B6, so exactly the opposite. And then the unit. For the unit, you can have days, months, or years, and that will be D, M, or Y. So in double quotes, I'll type D and close out the parentheses and press tab, and we get 10,397. And again, just to reinforce, you need to have the letter D, which again refers to days, in double quotes because it's treated as text. So I'll press tab. And as you might have guessed, the character for months is M and for years is Y. So let's see what those look like. So we have in F6 DATEDIF. And remember, it doesn't come up in autocomplete. It's wonderful. It's this little hidden tool. And then you start with the start date in A6, and then I'll just type it in, B6 for the second date, and then in double quotes M, right parentheses and tab, and you get 341 months. And then for years, we can see how that's calculated. So in G6 equal DATEDIF, and again A6, I'll just type that in, B6, comma, and then in double quotes Y, and enter, and we get 28 years. And you can see that we haven't gone a full 28 years because 1995 to 2024, if we just look at those numbers, is 29. But because we haven't reached the starting date of July 24, then the number of years is 28. And the same would be true for months. If we were looking at, say, 7/25, 2024, and then press tab, then of course the day count changes, but months went up by 1 and years went up by 1 because we are further into 2024 than we started in 1995. So that's how you can look at increments between date. And a related question is how long it will take an investment to reach a particular goal. Those of you planning for retirement or who are saving for a major purchase will be very interested in this. To make this calculation, you need to know 4 things. The first is the rate, and this is the annual percentage rate, and then the number of periods per year. And this is the number of times that interest is compounded during the year. So if your earnings on interest are compounded monthly, then you would divide by 12. If it's quarterly, you would divide by 4. And then we have the starting value and the future value or target value. So let's go ahead in B15 and create the formula that we need. So I'll type equal, The function you'll use is PDURATION, and that is the number of periods required to reach a goal. So we have the rate, that is in B11, but remember, we're dividing it by the number of periods per year, and that is in B12. Then a comma, the present value is what we're starting with, that's our initial investment, then a comma, and the future value is what we want to get out of it. Then a right parentheses to close it out, and tab, and we get 151.578 periods, so it will take us 152 months, rounding up, at 5.5% interest to turn $250,000 into $500,000. I hope the techniques that I've shown you in this video were useful. If they were, please like the video and subscribe to my channel.